Welcome back to the Service Plumber channel, everybody. This is Morgan. Today I want to go over something a little different than my last talking point video. Today I want to go over the hardest and worst parts about being a service plumber. Last time I talked about why I think it's the best job in the world, but now I want to balance that out with some of the reasons that a lot of people would say maybe it's not. So, I think for obvious reasons, the number one reason that being a service plumber can be hard and what can take the fun out of it is, you guessed it, customers. When you're a service plumber, you could be dealing with anywhere from 3 to 6 customers a day. And it's just inevitable. You know, 9 out of 10 people are super friendly and pretty easy to deal with, but you're gonna get that one that is just a pain in the butt. And there's just no way to make them happy. They're not gonna like your prices. They're not gonna wanna pay you. They're gonna run you through the ringer. And those people, even though it's only like 1 out of 10, they're gonna stand out. And they're gonna freaking wear on you. And you got to make sure your head is in a good spot every day, so that when you do run into, we'll just call him Charlie. That'll be our grumpy customer. When you do run into Charlie, you'll be able to deal with him. Part of the way that I've found is just being a disciplined lifestyle is really helpful. Now, I mean, I'll drink and have some fun, but you know, work out every weekday. Try to eat healthy, try to make sure my life is taken care of and pretty well organized, try to make sure my wife's happy, the kids are, you know, in a good spot, and I try to make sure my life is together and that I'm working really hard. And like when I say I work hard, I try to work hard, because when when I was younger and I ran into these people, they would really ruin my day. But now that I'm just so much stronger and mentally so much stronger, that when I run into these people, it doesn't really even faze me. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not fun, but it's like, whatever, I got to be here tomorrow. So moving on. And the best, like, how do you deal with a customer? I mean, try to treat every customer with respect and be nice to them, but at the same time, you got to be firm. I mean, you're there to do a job, and if they're not going to let you do that job, then there's no point in you being there. You also are there to make money, and if they're not willing to pay you for your services, then again, no reason for you to be there. So you got to make sure that you know why you're there, and you're firm, and you'll be fine. So if you do run into Charlie, the grumpy customer, then here's some ways that I've found that are good for handling those folks. By the way, I'm heading to a sewer line cleaning for pulling a reset, and this very well might be a Charlie. I'm not sure, because they were pretty rude on the phone, but they called back and said they needed me because they couldn't find anyone cheaper. So I'm like, okay, I'll come out, and we'll see how it goes. They'll probably be fine. But anyways, back to the point of the story. When you do run into somebody who's being difficult, and I'll see if I can think of an example, but what I recommend is just, you know, inform them of like the situation. A lot of times these people, they have really jacked up plumbing, you know, and you go like, look, hold on. We're going to try to make this better, but you got to understand, you know, your plumbing is in very poor condition. So, you know, I could fix all of it, but it might not be in the budget. So let's figure out what you need done. Explain to me what you want out of me, and then I will explain to you what I can offer. Make sure that you're confident when you talk to these customers, because they love to find a weakness, and they'll just kind of poke away at it and try to, you know, really try to, I don't know, try to ruin your day. if they start to get violent or aggressive, just say, hey, we're not a good fit. I'm not going to charge you a service call, and leave. And to be honest with you, I do that quite often. If I run into a customer that I am not vibing with and I just don't think I'm going to get any money out of them, I a lot of times will leave, not charge a service call, and just call it a loss. And it's peace of mind, and I feel good about it. I don't know how they feel, but I just feel like that's, you know what, they can't complain. I didn't charge them anything. I'm gone. If they are complaining, well, then it just shows how really despicable they are. So customers are definitely one of the hardest things when you're a service plumber. You know, in order to maintain good relationships with customers, make sure you're thorough. I know it's tough, but you just got to go over the prices up front. A lot of times I'll give people ballparks on the phone. I'll be like, hey, yeah, sewer clean out, sewer line cleaning with a clean out. You know, we run a 100-foot snake. That's our base charge, 100-foot snake, full-size machine. We video the line and we'll locate it. If there's a problem, you know, $395 with a clean out. No clean out, you know, $550 to $650. We've got to pull and reset a toilet. Go from the vent, you know, could be $500. You know, you got to have your prices, make sure they're profitable, and you got to go over those with people up front, because a lot of people are not going to be willing to pay your plumber prices, but you got to make money. And so I try to weed out as many of those people on the phone as I can. And then at the job, I'll try to make sure that if I haven't gone over prices, that I do that at that point. If you can, try to give people options. You know, hey, option one, we're going to replumb the entire house because it's old galvanized piping. It's in poor condition. This is the 5th leak you've had. You know, option two, we're going to, you know, replace this section of piping, or hey, we're going to fix the leak and then I see your water heater's got a seep on it, or it's not heating properly. Maybe we should replace that. Or option three, all we'll do is fix the leak. So if you give people options, sometimes you can upsell a job that way and help the customer out in getting a better product. Very important. But customers, that's going to be one of your hardest things to deal with as a service plumber. I better move on, because I guess number two kind of runs into number one, sales and pricing. I mean, you're out here to make money. Let's not joke around. You would not be crawling under houses, touching people's crap if you weren't making good money. And that's something that the customers need to understand too. So when you're pricing a job, make sure you're pricing it in a way that what I try to do is figure out with insurance, gas money, what it costs to run the business, and then I try to figure out what I want to make a day. And this is obviously scalable, but you know, say you want to make $1,000 a day. Well, that's not just $1,000. You know, it's $1,000 plus, say, $50 to $100 in advertising, insurance, etc. So now you got to make $1,150, and then don't forget to deduct your material. Maybe the first job is a toilet change out, $700 or whatever, but you got $200 in material, or $250. You know, so now you only made $500 on that job, and you got to really make sure you're doing that math so you know what your target is for that day and how much you got to charge. Obviously, there's days you can make more than that. I feel like the market is changing a little bit, so it's maybe not as low-hanging fruit as it was a few years ago, but you know, it'll come back eventually. Just got to wait for the tide. The tide has to change. So make sure you're pricing your jobs right. I would recommend, if you're a service plumber, do flat rate. It's much better. You look at the job, you price it, they accept, do the job for that price. Make sure that when you're doing that, though, you use you know, consistent pricing for one, but you can adjust it based on the difficulty. But also make sure that you make exclusions. You know, hey, this will include replacing this 2 feet of pipe. If the old pipe breaks in the process of changing this, I may have to change out additional piping, which would cost additional money. And then, you know, try to, if that does happen, I try to work with people and go pretty fair on that additional cost price. But I do make sure I'm charging for it, because it's not, that wasn't part of the quote. Try to be all inclusive with your quotes, but things happen. You know, you change out a water heater, well, then you figure out, oh, it should have had a thermal expansion tank, or, you know, you need to look at all that stuff. Number 3, scheduling. Now that is another major pain in the ass as a service plumber. You're always working around the customer's schedule. A lot of times they're working 9 to 5 jobs and you're trying to work, you know, 7 to 3 or 9 to 5. And so you're always having to kind of juggle things around with customers to make it work. It's doable. I try to give somebody like in the morning, that's the guaranteed appointment. It's like I can show up at 8 a.m. That's a guaranteed appointment. And then if somebody, you know, if I'm trying to schedule, I won't usually schedule more than 3 calls a day. I mean, sometimes I do 6, but I won't schedule more than 3. So I'll kind of have a morning schedule, and then I'll just give someone like a middle of the day, you know, hey, we're looking between 11 to 1 or whatever. And then, hey, we're looking at, you know, 3 to 4 p.m. So I'll try to kind of get 3 appointments going for the day if I can. And anything else is filler material. So call comes in, you know, you'll do it. Sometimes it's better to have less jobs scheduled because you'll have that emergency come in. You don't want to be obligated to a lesser paying job. So yeah, scheduling is a pain in the ass because if you're a business owner, you're going to go on your weekend and inevitably you're going to get a call from a repeat customer and, oh, my house is flooded, I got a water leak, blah, 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 I need someone out here right away. It's good to have a backup plan for that. You know, I generally just tell people like, look, I'm out of town, there's nothing I can do. However, I try to have a backup plan. So I'll try to have some other plumbers that I can recommend them to call. Try to walk them through how to shut the water off. So unfortunately, you do kind of need to be on call. And if you can't be, if you're out of service, you know, I try to change my voicemail and say, hey, I'm out of town for the weekend. I'll call you back Monday morning. If this is not an emergency, just leave a message. If it is, you know, here's the plumbers I recommend calling, and definitely get your water shut off right away. Things like that can really help save a relationship on plumbing, or on customers, because they at least know you're trying and you care. Number 4, this is something that I still personally haven't figured out, so don't take too much advice from me, but employees. I've been in actually multiple different plumbing shops, and some guys kind of have it down better than others, but from what I can tell, having employees is a very difficult road to navigate, because again, just like we talked about with scheduling, if you got an employee that's taking a week off and now you've built your business up to handle 3 plumbers, well, he's gone for a week, or maybe 2 of them are gone because one's sick or they're friends and they're going on an elk hunt or something. Well, you know, now it's just you pretty much by yourself, or you and one other guy, and you've got a business that's meant for handling 4 technicians, you know, or somebody leaves. Now all of a sudden it's like you've got all this extra workload and you're just kind of, it's thrown at you, and it can add a lot of stress to your life. I've not found a good way to manage employees. I think that there's a balance, there's a kind of a hurdle to get over. You know, 1, 2 employees, you're going to still end up managing them yourself. Ideally, I think you need to get to that point where you have an office personnel or 2, and then, you know, maybe 4 or 5 technicians. That would be ideal, but I just haven't been able to get there yet. The gap from being a one-man show to that is pretty significant. And then I will say, just because you have more employees does not necessarily mean you make more money. I've seen plumbers with 6, 7 technicians that are making less money than I do by myself, and they've got a lot more stress. I mean, a shit ton, because they're doing 6 to 7 times more jobs. But you know, depending on what you're charging your customers, if you've got benefits for your guys and you're paying them well, it can be very difficult to like make much money off of them. You know, if you're only making $200-300 a day off of each technician and you got 3 of them, you know, say make 300, you know, that's $900. Well, I can go out and make that in a day pretty easily, in a half day pretty easily by myself. And that's not even counting if you're hiring an office person. So maybe you're not even making that. So I really think employees are something to think about. I mean, it's worth trying, but I just think that there's guys that are really good at managing employees and making a profit, and then there's me, and I'm still trying to figure it out. So let me look. I'm getting close to this address. 369. You know what? There's enough content here that I think I'm going to make this a 2-part series if people are enjoying it. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up with this, the employees one, because I think, I don't know, I've been going for, let's see. Yeah, I've been going for 15 minutes. I think that's enough for one part of this. So let's go ahead and we'll have a part 2 of why it's difficult and what's hard about being a service plumber. I appreciate y'all tuning in, and I hope you like it. And if there's anything you want me to talk about in future videos, why don't you go ahead and just let me know, and we'll try to make that happen for you. Y'all, good luck working, make some money, enjoy your family. I hope you have a great summer this year, or if you're watching this in the winter, I hope you have a great week. Y'all take care. We'll see you on the next one.